Jamaica makes it to the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals after sending home the rude Canadians. But now, they must face the two-time current champs, the US men's national team, while playing in the United States of America. We have the clear favorites here. It's the United States. But could Jamaica pull an upset? Why don't we talk about it? Hi, can you hear? I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the greatest Jamaica versus United States match preview that you'll ever find on YouTube. This award was given to Tactical Manager by Tactical Manager. We will start off the episode by telling you where and when to watch this game, the predicted United States starting 11, and then I'm going to give you my US men's national team starting 11 that I would like to see in case you give a crap. Lastly, I will be bringing a dear friend of the channel and Jamaican soccer expert, JD, to discuss what's going on in Jamaica and talk about their odds of pulling an upset or not, along with injuries, suspensions, and players that they are missing. The link to his YouTube channel is in the description of this video. Personally, I think this match against Jamaica is a must-win for the United States, and we'll talk about this later in the video. With that said, let us know your prediction in the comment section down below, and drop a like in this video if you want to. I can't force you, but I really appreciate if you do so. And with that said, this video is brought to you by AC Momento. Their link will also be in the description of this video, but more on that later. Let's roll the intro and start the episode. The United States men's national team is set to face Jamaica this Thursday, March 21st for the CONCACAF Nations League semifinals. The winner of this match will play Mexico or Panama on Sunday in the Nations League final. Kickoff is scheduled to be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and the match will be played at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, or Arlington, I guess. I've never really been to Dallas, so I honestly don't know the difference. I guess if you're from Dallas, you can let us know. Apparently, this stadium is not actually located in Dallas. Just like MetLife, a lot of us say it's in New York, but it's actually in New Jersey. If you're in the United States, you may watch this match at Paramount Plus or Univision. And of course, you may mute the game and join us here at Tactical Manager TV for our live watch along. It's lots of fun, but do not bring your kids. Let's just say that while watching the US men's national team play, I'm not really a role model. Outside of that, I am a role model. Not really, but definitely not when the US men's national team plays. We will also go live here at the channel 30 to 45 minutes prior to kickoff for a pre-game show. When it comes to matchups between the United States and Jamaica, we have a clear advantage for the United States of America. These national teams have faced each other 32 times, with 19 American wins, 10 draws, and only 3 Jamaican wins throughout history. The last time Jamaica beat the United States in a competitive match was all the way back in the 2015 Gold Cup. And the last time both of these teams clashed was back in the 2023 Gold Cup, where the match ended 1-1. But remember, Jamaica had most of their best players in that match, while the United States had what we call a C or D team, and it was still 1-1. Like, that was a game that Jamaica should have beaten the United States, and they still found a way to tie 1-1. Which, if you're Jamaican, you should be extremely disappointed with that result. And this is what I'll say: if the United States loses to Jamaica in the semifinals, the Federation, the US Soccer Federation, should absolutely fire Greg Berhalter. This is his second cycle. There are no more excuses, and a disappointing result like this at home should not be acceptable. Now, will they fire Berhalter if he loses? Probably not. They'll most certainly give him at least the Copa America, but that's just me saying what should happen. And usually what should happen never happens. But just to be honest here, I don't expect the United States to lose. Not to a Jamaican side that's missing Damari Gray, Leon Bailey, Amari Bell, Ethan Pinnock. We're going to talk about all these names later in the video, but they're missing a lot of important players, like half of their team. Now let's quickly go through a few US men's national team updates, then the projected starting 11, then my starting 11 that no one gives a crap, and then we can bring JD. So here's some US men's national team news and updates. Luca De La Torre and Josh Sargent, that were originally in the roster, were replaced by Haji Wright and Brendan Aronson due to injury. Serginho Dest is suspended for this match due to the red card that he got against Trinidad and Tobago, but he will be available for the final if the United States makes it. Tyler Adams said that he is 45 to 60 minutes fit, and that's how much he can contribute per game for the United States, which means I don't expect Tyler to start any game for the US men's national team. He'll probably come off the bench. Lastly, the last update on the United States before we go to the projected starting 11 is that the last time I checked, Berhalter is still a soccer terrorist. With that said, what will be the starting 11 that Berhalter will likely put out to play against Jamaica? And I think he'll likely go with a 4-3-3 formation with Matt Turner on goal, Joe Scally as the right back since Dest is not available, Anthony Robinson as the left back. The two center backs that I expect him to start would be Richards and Tim Ream. Probably the third option would be Miles Robinson. He could still start Miles, it's possible, but I think he's going to go with Richards and Ream for this match. Then the central defensive midfielder will probably be Yunus Musa. I don't think he'll start Johnny Cardoso yet, and I also don't think he'll start Tyler Adams. That's literally coming back from an injury. Tyler will probably come in for the last 20 to 30 minutes. The dual eights, or the eights, that would be Weston McKennie as a box-to-box and Gio Moore as a playmaking 8, almost like a 10. Timothy Way on the right wing, Christian Pulisic on the left wing, and I still think he will start Fullerton Balogun up top despite his poor form. Could he start Pepe? Maybe. I think it's unlikely. He's still probably going to go with Balogun up top, and I'm okay with that. I would still start Balogun. I still think he's the best 9 we have. And then having Pepe off the bench, you know he's clutch, is actually not a problem, right? If we're not getting goals with Balogun, you send in Pepe in the last 30 minutes, and he'll probably give you a goal or two. So we talked about Berhalter. What would be the starting 11 I would put on the field to face Jamaica? So it's actually very similar to Greg Berhalter, but different. I'll explain very soon. It's actually a 4-2-3-1 formation with Matt Turner on goal, Joe Scally on the right back, A-Rob on the left back, Richards and Ream as the two center backs, Johnny and Weston as the double pivot midfielders, Gio Reyna as a 10, Way on the right, Pulisic on the left, and Balogun as the center forward. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same starting 11 that Berhalter would put, with a little adjustment on the formation. But it's essentially the same. I just replaced Yunus Musa with Johnny, and I'll explain to you why very soon. But what I'd like to propose here is a different approach, or as they like to call Berhalter's system, a new system for the US men's national team. So I want it to be more fluid, not rigid. Obviously with players having their positions in different phases of play, but I'm perfectly fine with them abandoning positional play, roaming a bit more, and acting upon instincts. Unlike clubs, when you're at the national team, you don't have much time with the players, so you can't try to implement an overly complex system or just complicate things with the players. I want the front four to have a lot of proximity in the final third, to combine, roam, be creative through the middle, down the flanks, with the width coming from the wingers and not the fullbacks. I want my fullbacks to stay a bit deeper, while Berhalter usually likes to overwork his fullbacks and have them whip in crosses. He loves to have them high up the field. I personally don't like that very much. So let me show you now how I would want us to look in possession, and then our defensive shape, and then we can move on to JD. So in possession, as you can see, we'll pretty much look to be in a 2-3-4-1 formation. The front four right there, actually don't count Balogun, but that line of four with Weah, Gio, McKennie, and Pulisic would have Gio and McKennie as almost double 10s, and I want them all to be very close. McKennie, Pulisic, Gio, Weah, so they can combine and create, and Gio and McKennie can pick a pass. Right, McKennie has proven that with Juve this season, so he can definitely find Balogun up top, and then you also have Pulisic and Weah out wide providing width, so we can create through the flanks or through the middle. A-Rob and Scally would stay back, which would, make us far more defensively secure down the flanks right there. They would not leave that much space in behind, and Johnny Cardoso would sit deep, to stop any counterattack from Jamaica and to play as a deep line playmaker, trying to combine and trying to find Pulisic, McKennie, Gio, and Weah to make things happen. That's how I would set up the team in possession. And one of the reasons I don't want our fullbacks pushed high up the field, if you remember in the World Cup, that was actually one of the reasons why we lost to the Dutch. Louis van Gaal recognized that Berhalter does that a lot. We kept leaving space in behind. The Dutch took advantage of that, so I don't want to overwork our fullbacks. I think our wingers can get the job done, so I really wouldn't push them very high up the field. They would kind of be in the midfield with Johnny when in possession. Now let's talk about the defensive shape, which the defensive shape, I'm kind of copying Berhalter a little bit. I know, shocker. I agree with Berhalter on this one, but I would essentially play a 4-4-2 and the defensive shape, sort of like how we faced England in the World Cup. So I would keep on this 4-4-2 Balogun and Gio Reyna up top so that we can strike and transition very fast. But it'll be a pretty basic 4-4-2, very compact, very narrow, pushing the opponent out wide. And of course, everything I'm saying here is an oversimplification of this system. I would have to go into much more details of what I want, and obviously to implement this is one thing, to have the idea is one, to implement is another, but I think you all got the concept or the idea that I'm trying to put on the field here with these different phases of play and the starting 11. So hopefully I made sense. Let me know if you agree with my approach, and let me know what you would do. How would you approach this Jamaican side, and how would you like to see the US men's national team play? Now, before we bring JD, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, AC Momento. Their link is in the description. It's free to download. Make sure to download and go follow me in the app. It's an amazing app. You'll love it. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel. So we'll be back in a minute with JD. And while the ad is rolling, drop a like, download the app, do whatever you want. We'll be back in a minute. AC Momento is the best app to track the sporting events that you attend and to share it with your friends and enemies. You can have your own sports scrapbook where you can place every single game that you attend or have attended in the past, where you can also personalize it by adding your own pictures of your game day experience while also tagging your friends. You may also pick your favorite teams and they will add that to your profile, along with the history of how many games of your favorite team you have attended. So if you attend a lot of sporting events, this app is simply a no-brainer for you. Like, you have to download it right now because it's also free. And it's not exclusive to just soccer events. I even recently added a Miami Heat game that I attended. And again, the link to download it is in the description of this video. Now, if you don't attend many games, you can still download this app simply to follow others and myself. Being a lurker here is fine at AC Momento. It's totally not illegal. So download the app now. The link is in the description of this video, and make sure to follow me. I have this bet with the channel producer that I want to hit over 500 followers. I told him we would, and I hope you don't let me down because I don't like losing bets. Okay, everyone. USA versus Jamaica. And as always, when we play Jamaica, we bring JD, a dear friend of the channel that's been around since pretty much day one. Welcome back, JD.
Thanks for having me. Not so happy about our situation, but as you know, that's how it always is, and I'm hoping for better in the future.
I have never seen you happy with Jamaica.
I am trying because we are improving in certain areas, but sometimes things just happen, you know? As you said, every time we have the same problems, but I guess we have to deal with it. But I still believe that the coach might just give us a better chance to win it.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is what surprised me about Jamaica. I wouldn't say I was hyping Jamaica, but when I looked at Jamaica a month or two ago and I looked at the team on paper, I saw Andre Blake, arguably a top 3, if not the best goalkeeper in MLS. And then I saw Ethan Pinnock, a very good Premier League defender. Leon Bailey having a fantastic season for Aston Villa. Damari Gray, that plays in Saudi Arabia, but still a very good player that played in the Premier League. And then you have Mikel Antonio, Bobby Reed. And I thought to myself, I was like, wait a second. This team's not a joke. This team, if the U.S. doesn't bring their A game, it's also a very physical team, we can be in trouble here. But then you guys released this roster this week, and I'm looking through it, and I'm like, no Pinnock. He's injured. No Leon Bailey, so you don't have your best defender. You don't have your best forward or winger. And then I heard Damari Gray is suspended to play against the U.S. Yes. Is there anyone else I'm missing here? Are you guys going to have a team? What's going on?
Yes, you're missing a few other guys. Amari Bell from Luton, Premier League player. Shamar Nicholson on this list that actually qualified us over Canada. He's suspended because of card accumulation as well. So Leon Bailey was off because he committed some things that the federation and the coach said he should have not done, with Trevante Stewart from the Serie A as well. So if it's not directly from card accumulations, it's injury or the JFF suspended some of the players. So that's why we have a team right here that I can go through. It is a team that we have to just try and do something. It's like when we had played you guys in the Gold Cup, when you guys had a third string team, and the game, we expected Jamaica to win. I was very confident. And then you guys played a better second half and actually got a point out of it. So maybe, you never may know. We have a competent coach that can maybe organize to be as defensive as possible. So maybe we have to pull off something like that. So I do believe that we have still capable pieces that can try and do something, to be honest, all right? Because we still have Damian Lowe there. We still have Andre Blake there. We have Mikel Antonio there, all right? So, and we have Jamal Lowe coming back, and we have KC Palmer coming back from injury as well. So with those guys in it, I do agree with everyone that it's a weaker team, and a lot of the Jamaican fans, they are not excited at all. Worst off with Leon Bailey, being that he was suspended for this when we never had other players. They are not happy at all, and I could understand them why they are not happy. But as what the federation says, they are going off principle,
Also,
and I can't even complain with that either.
the interesting thing about Leon Bailey is that he reminds me a little bit of the Stars from Space Jam with Jamaica. He has all, but the reverse, right? So they all suck at basketball, and then they suck the skills from the basketball players and become super good. He's usually that for Aston Villa, but then when he goes to Jamaica, just like the talent is sucked out of him, and he doesn't really perform that well for Jamaica usually. But let me ask you one thing here. Regardless of Bailey not playing well for Jamaica or not, you will miss him because he's been in great form for Aston Villa. You never know. Like, if he's in a good day, he can cause trouble, a lot of trouble. Damar Gray, another player that would cause the U.S. a lot of trouble, can't play. Pinnock, great defender, can't play. And you put Amari Bell. So there's a lot of issues there. Jamaica was probably the underdog already with all those players playing against the U.S., current two-time champions. U.S. has the best roster right now in CONCACAF, and the U.S. plays at home. So they were already the underdogs. They just became even bigger underdogs with all those absences. But in the past, you guys had terrible coaches, horrible coaches. Tapa Whitmore was a full-grown idiot. No offense to him, but I kind of offended him right there. And you guys had always had trouble. But now, and you're going to help me pronounce his name, the coach you have, he's from Iceland. So he coached the Iceland national team, right? And
yes,
I believe
yes.
he knows how to play that underdog card, and he knows how to get results out of that. And he understands what has to be done. Can you first teach us how to pronounce his name if you know how to do it? And then second, could you tell us, what do you think, based on what you know from him, what you've seen from him, what will be his approach? And do you think is that literally the only chance Jamaica has? It could be like the coach out coaching Greg Berhalter, because our biggest weakness is the coach, the United States. And it seems like that's your biggest strength right now. Can you talk a little bit about him for us? How to pronounce his name? That's the first thing. How do you pronounce his name?
I think because I always said Jaimir Hallgrimsson, but they had said it's Jaimir Hallgrimsson. So I guess any one of them can be right, depending on the language that you do speak. But I'm going to call him Jaimir Hallgrimsson. All right. Yes. I love the point that you touched. With Iceland, yes, they qualified for the World Cup in a confed that is one of the strongest confed in the world, which is the European confed.
Oh, it's
and it's always
the strongest.
The strongest. So I think we would have been the underdog, maybe 60-40, I would say. So 20% would have gone to United States with the strongest team, because your midfield is super strong. Your midfield is one of the strongest midfields in the entire region. So that gives you the advantage over everyone. So now we are defeated.
The strongest.
I am not going to lose off Mexico. Mexico is not as weak in midfield. But I know you're going to say that because you're always fighting with the Mexicans for reasons I don't know. But anyways, what I'm trying to say here, you brought up a very good point. This is going to be a second half like Canada, where in which they just galvanize each other and just find a common opponent, which is United States, and try to stay as compact as possible. He plays normally a 4-4-2 system, where in which he would have used Leon Bailey as the central forward behind Mikel Antonio or Shamar Nicholson. So I'm still waiting to see if he's going to use a 2 in midfield when you guys have Tyler Adam, Wester McKinney, Yunus Musa, and guys like that quality. I'm worried about it, but I think he's going to go back with it, and he's going to try and play a wing transition system, which can still hurt you with weaker players in the team, because they're going to have the strength from defense to attack. So you have Mikel Antonio and you have Damian Lowe with Deshaun Bernard. So Deshaun Bernard can play longer balls straight at the top, and you have Mikel Antonio. So they are going to bypass the midfield. So even though we might have the weaker midfield on a defensive end, maybe we can still hurt you guys on that side. So with the combination of a coach that has the ability to galvanize people, and we still have quality in the front and also the back, I think we could go with a game like what he always wanted and cause you some problems. But I am not saying we are the favorites.
So you think he's just going to probably sit back on a low block and go route one football, just go direct and try to find maybe Antonio and whoever's up top with him, and maybe try to hit the U.S. in transition in one moment or two and hold it back? Yeah, the U.S., to be fair, I don't know what Berhalter's going to do. Berhalter never knows what Berhalter's going to do. Even when the games start, Berhalter still doesn't know what he's doing. But the U.S. has struggled usually against low blocks because Berhalter ball is very predictable. It's positional play. He tries to go out wide, whipping crosses. We usually don't have much creativity through the middle, even though there are ways to solve that with Gio Reyna playing there, possibly putting a 6 deep and pushing McKennie to play with Gio as a 10 in possession. There's ways to go about it, which I don't think Berhalter will do, because he loves overworking the fullbacks and the wings, just overloading those areas of the field. So they really struggle with low blocks, and we just whip in crosses. And then our best center forward, Balogun, in my opinion, it's our best center forward. He's also not the greatest against low blocks. He's really good in transition and making run through the channels. Pepe would be probably the best one against low blocks. We don't know what Berhalter will do. So if Jamaica does put a low block, I can see this game becoming scrappy, becoming tough. Unless the U.S. gets an early goal, because then Jamaica naturally has to open up. There's a few ways I can see this game going. If the U.S. scores first in the first 30 minutes, I can see it going 2 or 3-0 with Jamaica opening up and having to attack. But the longer Jamaica holds the 0-0 draw, I think their odds increases. So let's say we hit minute 70 and it's still 0-0. I would say from there forward, it's 50-50. It's 50-50 at that point, because that means the U.S. is not being able to break that low block. Jamaica will be dangerous in transition. There will be. So essentially what I'm saying is the U.S. needs to score first. That's the first thing. And I know that sounds pretty obvious, right? Score first. But you can still score first and lose. But I'm just saying, if the U.S. scores first, I don't see how the U.S. would lose. The U.S. has great players in transition. If Jamaica has to open up, I don't think they'll have the quality to punish the United States. But if Jamaica scores first, that low block is going to get freaking lower than ever. They're going to sit right there and park the freaking bus. And
Mikel Antonio up there waiting. And Mikel Antonio waiting between two centre-backs. One of the strongest players you can find in world football. So it would have favored Jamaica if Jamaica. That's the only way I could see we winning, if we score first, so we can have something to bank on. So you can force it into an additional mistake. So yes, I would agree, but I would say that I am not so confident in we getting the result, because sometimes a lot of things has to go right for us to get a result with a weaker team, because the United States use average teams and get better results against us. So I'm going to think that it's going to continue and we have to fight hard. So I'm not so confident. I have to be honest to people, but I'm just hoping that the coach stays compact and just try and shut out them, frustrate them, and just get one on the counter and try and see out the rest of the game. That's the only thing I can say. I know once I do these videos, people always say that I'm not hyping up the team, but I have to be honest. The United States team, they are trying to go and beat big teams in the World Cup. So this is like their friendlies, as what Mr. Berhalter said. He's going to use these games as the preparation for the World Cup. So they are coming out to make a statement. And I want to say that they're going to come out and try and make a statement. So let's see if Al Grimson can get the boys them tight as possible. And then we could frustrate them and maybe have a long night and get a 1-0 victory. But anything bigger than that, I don't see it.
What's your honest prediction for this game? What if you had to not what you want? Obviously, you would want Jamaica to advance, but what would be your honest prediction if you had to say, this is what I think will be the final score?
I think my honest answer would be 2-0
for the US?
In favor of United States, yeah.
Like one goal in each
But
half?
yes, but and that would be my honest score. But I would say I would like for them to grind it out, frustrate you guys, and then maybe clip a one. And then if you guys are trying to force for the next one, we can get a count and get two. So I would love a 1-0 or a 2-0 win, to be honest. But I do see it ending like a 2-0.
Yeah, I think that I can't, like, we're recording this on Friday, right? And I'm still going to think about my prediction a bit more. I'm still predicting a US win with a little bit of comfort, kind of like what you put, like a 2-goal differential, but I was going more towards like a 3-1 because I think if the US scores first, Jamaica will have to open up in attack. And I think Jamaica has enough quality within Antonio, Bobby Reed to maybe get a goal. But if they open up, I think the US also has the quality to get 2 or 3. So
yeah,
I'm projecting something like that, probably a 3-1 US win. I think Jamaica has enough quality to get a goal, and I think they will if they come after the US. But if they leave that backline exposed in transition against Balogun, Pulisic, they'll probably concede 2 or 3. That's my honest prediction. Now, if I'm going to be biased and optimistic, I'll say 4-0 the US, but I don't see that happening. You guys have a good coach that understands the difference in talent right now, and he's going to try to make it scrappy. And it's like, we got to pull a result here. He'll understand that. But JD, that's all for this episode. Good luck in the game. Hopefully you guys make it a tough one, but hopefully the United States advances as always. And that's all. Anything else you want to add before you go?
The coach, as what he said, it's a coach that understands the situation, and that's what I like about this coach a little bit more than Tupper Whitmore. He understands the situation and know what level of players he has at a period, and he's going to try and utilize those at its best advantage. So that's what I want to see from him, and hopefully it works. But if it doesn't work, I'm still here cheering on the boys and just say, do your best.
Okay, so pretty much JD is relying on the coach out-coaching Berhalter by a lot, which, again, it's not that hard. That'll probably happen, but hopefully the United States out-talented the opponent. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Drop a like before you go. Thank you, JD. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. Also, thank you, everyone that has been joining our Patreon. I truly appreciate all the support. Hopefully, by now, you have downloaded or you're about to download the AC Momento app, and make sure to follow us in the process. Remember, the link is in the description of this video. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you guys on Thursday for the live watch-along between the United States and Jamaica, and have a great day.